Hold on.
I was going to clap. You clapping? Hello and welcome to the Rat Nest Podcast, episode number 23 with Memo.
Hey!
Hey, what
What up, dude?
How's it going, bro?
What's up, man? Mings.
Yeah.
Happy
Multiples.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you. How's it going?
I'm good. Just got off my shift at work, so I'm a little brain dead, but in a good way. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I appreciate you making the time to meet up with us and have a conversation. Looking forward to it, bro.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I mean, shoot, we did that show at Bonsai in 2016,
Yeah,
I want to say.
it was a long time ago.
Long ass time ago, dude. I think about it, like, that seems like I was just doing that, like working there and setting it up and all that. And it's like, damn, it's been like almost 5 years. It's crazy.
That was a crazy night. That was a fun night. That's when we had that practice wall in the back where everyone just got to go and have fun, right? Yeah, that was
Yeah. We did it for City of Hope. Like, we donated all the proceeds to that. And I remember, like, at the end of the night, after we had done the wall in the back, it was just like, I think it was like a 4 foot by 8 foot panel or something.
Yeah.
That everyone threw on. Some kid bought it, and I was like, "Is everyone cool with selling this for like $150 and like having it go to the charity?" So it was cool. It was like extra cherry on top.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. That was a little too bit though.
Dude, I was hammed. I don't know how much you remember, but I was getting squirrely that night for sure.
Yeah, we just kept going. But it was a good show. Everything Gato was on there. Don't Trip was on there.
Yeah, Regan.
Yeah, Regan.
Joe Castillo. Yeah, it was a good lineup, dude. Like,
It was
for just like a hole in the wall bar show, it's great.
Yeah, it had some heads in there. It was fun to be a part of.
Oh yeah, dude. I appreciate that. It's like that's probably the first time we met. I know you were kicking it with Joe, and he was like, "Well, maybe Memo wants to throw in some pieces for the show because I invited him to be on it." And you're like, "Yeah, sure." And that was like the first time I checked your shit out, and I was like, "Damn, dude, this is crazy!" Like, it was really good. And he's like, "Yeah, he doesn't really focus on it that much. He's like really into like calculus."
Yeah, I was really well, I'm still actually today signed up for my trig refresher because I took a bit of a break from college just because I had to find a place to live. I had to find a job that paid for rent. So I had to take a break. But yeah, today I signed up for my calculus and trig refresher so I can get back into it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How does that type of understanding in math play or affect your art and the way that you kind of create?
It's a lot of attention to detail, especially calculus. It's you miss one little thing and the whole thing just collapses. And so you have to make sure each step of the process is meticulous. And not only that, calculus is three-dimensional math. So you look at an equation and you could see the shape in your head. It's crazy. It's like its own language. So with that, you start picturing, geometric shapes. And a lot of my stuff has weird geometric / natural kind of flows to it. So I don't know. I think it coincides just with the type of thinking more than anything, just thinking meticulously and detailed oriented and getting nitty gritty, getting into it. A lot of my stuff is nitty gritty.
That's awesome, man. I'm a firm believer that math dictates everything in the universe. I think the better you know it, the better you can do pretty much anything.
I agree. If you know math and chemistry, you know the universe pretty much, and physics.
That's right, or at least how it functions. Yeah.
You say that shit all like nonchalant. Well, if you know upper math, physics, chemistry, you got all that down, then you get it.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, but it's beautiful in its own way. It's being able to predict something on paper and then you experiment and it comes out and just how you predicted it. It's amazing. So,
hell yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Definitely has an influence.
I never like put the two together, even though I know that's like one of the first things I think they teach you in art school, especially with like type and layout, is that the ratios and like the golden ratio and
Yeah,
that perfect natural shape is kind of what dictates what your eye is drawn to and like what kind of art works and doesn't work, especially in a commercial or like something where you're trying to get a message across.
right. No, and it's in everything. You find patterns in nature and math in nature, and DNA is, just like it's a double helix. It's got a structure to it. It's a mathematical structure to it. It's math is in everything, and you could get really philosophical on it too, which is something weird, something as black and white as math can be, to be able to philosophize, be able to get philosophical and abstract with it is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's rad.
Oh yeah. So I was thinking what we touched on earlier about that show that was about 5 years ago. At that time, you were almost I get what's the word I'm looking for? Only painting, like pretty much that's what you were doing. You had some some pencil drawings and stuff, but a lot of your work was with acrylic, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was brush and acrylic. I got into really deep phase where that's all I did. I mean, I did some illustrating, but mostly to prep for painting. And I just felt I needed to get good at brush, and that's all I did. And because it's one of the harder mediums, I think I just wanted to challenge myself. And that's going to be my next few projects, just getting back into brush, because I've kind of strayed from there. I bought an iPad, and I never thought I'd like creating digital work. But once I bought one, that's all I've been doing, because you get to layer your stuff on. It's a lot easier to send it to print, a lot easier to get a shirt made that way, because all you have to do is separate the layers, and there are your vector colors. But I miss the brush. There's something to it. Actually, I have one of my first big paintings right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. I just hung it up to get me back into the mode of brush, because it's been too long since I've created a big piece. Too long meaning like 6 months. That's too long. Because normally that's all I do, but the last big painting is over here somewhere, and I guess it wasn't that long ago, but I miss it being my
getting the iPad recently the first introduction to digital art, or did you fuck with it before, like with Photoshop and Illustrator and stuff when you were painting more?
In high school, I took a digital class. It was Photoshop and Illustrator, and I didn't really do much with it. I did the assignments, but I never really did anything extracurricular with it, and just did what I had to, and that's it. I mean, I nailed it. My teacher, my high school teacher at the point, told me I should focus on it, because I would look at it and boom, it'd be done. And then I just fuck around for 30, 40 minutes the remainder of the class. But it's just something that didn't grab my attention. Back then I was just spray painting. I wasn't even painting. So yeah, I didn't hold on to my ADD long enough for it to become a habit. But now that I have it, it's just so convenient. I mean, look at this thing. You just take it anywhere. You can just throw it in your bag if you're bored, or at a family function and you get bored, you can just whip it out and start drawing. But there is no for brush, though. At least in my book, it's just when you put brush to wood, because I only paint on wood, just something to it just hypnotizes you.
Oh yeah.
So what's that medium like? Only painting on wood and rather than like canvas? Was there a learning curve when you kind of first started on that? And I guess.
Yeah, I started. Well, my first introduction to that was my aunt bought me one of those kits that comes with like that little collapsible wooden easel and like a bunch of paints and the starter brushes, and it came with one canvas piece. But I went to an art show and I saw a piece on wood. I was like, that's what I want. And I tried painting on canvas. Yeah, I tried painting on canvas, and it just looked cheesy to me, and because I wasn't good at it. So I immediately took to wood just because I just liked how it looked, the contrast to the natural wood fiber to your abstract paint on it. It just it was a good juxtaposition of color. So yeah, gravitated towards it and never looked back. Haven't painted on canvas ever since that first piece.
Oh, yeah.
What a trip, how those random occurrences can like change out so much. You know, that one day you saw that, had you not stepped in that show, or you know, you may never have found it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. One little event can really, you know, put a direction in your life. It's crazy.
A lasting impression. Yeah,
absolutely. And I don't even know what the piece was, but it made an impression. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. That just goes to show, man, it doesn't really necessarily matter what the piece is or what it looks like. You know, you might be having an effect on people that you have no idea or could never predict anything at all. Just the fact that that guy made art and chose that medium, like it affected you.
Sent me in that direction. It's just like a ripple, you know? Who knows what else led me down that road?
Yeah, totally.
That's the one big common theme that we see on this podcast is that, you know, just if you do it, you don't know how you're affecting people. You don't know what it is that's going to be the outcome, but just do it because you won't know until you try.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I have a random question just because I painted on a couple different wood surfaces, but what's your go-to? Do you use masonite or do you use?
Honestly, for a while, like this, what is this? This is a piece I haven't finished. Been here for a while.
Some like 1/8-inch ply or something.
Yeah, just some cheap shit you get from Home Depot. That's what my pieces were. And I think it was a good learning. Material because it's so rough and it's hard to paint on that. Once I start buying the better boards that they sell at the art shops, you know, those boards specifically for painting, it was a lot easier. It's so
yeah, totally. Well, I know that cheaper ply, like not only is it rough, like you could sand it down, still a little rough, but it just soaks up that first layer so much differently than like what they have, like almost like a laminate or something at the art supply shop.
Yeah,
you know?
It's almost got already a finish to it, which this makes it a little more dexterous. You can add more. You can make it more unique than maybe those boards you get from like an art supply. But yeah, it soaks up your paints. It ruins your brushes. It frays them.
Yeah,
but the look is all its own too. So pros and cons. And it's cheap. Well, not anymore. I mean, wood went through the roof, but it used to be like $8 for this thing, where these things are like $30-$40. So you can, for the price of one, you can crank out 5 pieces.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's like prepping and like knowing how to like set your shit up can go so far. Like I used to buy the rolls of primed but not stretched canvas and just like build frames, and then like you buy a roll for like $80, $90. You have that shit for like a year, dude. Like, it's crazy.
And you can paint on it unstapled, and then however big your painting is, then you just resize your frame.
Whatever part you like that you want to, you know, crop it to or whatever. It's like it's yours to make with what you want. There's no you can't take apart a pre-made frame like and then put it back together. It just doesn't work.
It's just gonna look ugly. But I have a big ass piece I need to finish. It's one of the horsemen. It's one of the 4 horsemen. It's one of the 4 horses of the 4 horsemen. It's just like this weird horse I drew that's in hell, surrounded by a bunch of demons that are partying, waiting for the apocalypse. But yeah, it's probably 4.5 foot by 9 foot. So once it's done, I think I'm just going to staple it to a frame that's collapsible. So I would just have to open it up and lock it, and then boom.
That's sick. I've never thought about doing that.
Putting it on a hinge or something.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That's why I need to take carpentry too.
Yeah. We're all amateur carpenters. I feel like anyone that creates stuff kind of like has messed with the jigsaw and for sure, you know, cut wood trying to make frames for themselves or whatever. At least, I don't know. That was like one of the earliest things I did because like you said, it was so much cheaper. It's like when you're poor, dude, like
Yeah.
I'm eating bean and cheese burritos for dinner every night. Like, you gotta figure out how to make materials last.
Yeah, and knowing how to get the right equipment, right nails, even for hanging. If you're just once you do enough shows, you know you're supposed to, if you get this kind of nail, it's going to leave a big hole in the wall, or it's not going to support your shit. Or like in there, yeah, I have a saw, a jigsaw, a drill. I have like 4 drills. Just that over the years, you just learn how to make shit yourself because that pre-made stuff from art stores is super expensive and sometimes it's shoddy. You spend all this
that's right.
crappy stuff, and I could have made that better. Why spend my money on that?
So you started off primarily like doing spray paint and then went to acrylic, and you've been working with digital, but what else, like is there any other mediums like that you've messed with or like had results with?
Yeah, I did a little sculpting in high school just because I got the opportunity to. That's something I actually want to dive back into because there's stuff I want to do that it's either I'm going to learn how to 3D print, which is an expensive endeavor, or learn to sculpt. So,
bro,
yeah,
learn to, or you know, I mean, you know how to sculpt because you have an artistic eye, and that same thing about you say like, if you know kind of the shape of things in a certain ratio or in a mathematical sense, that you can make them easier than if you didn't have any understanding of that. I feel like sculpting is that. Like if you can feel those ratios and see them and what's different and what you want to make more symmetrical, it's not as crazy as you think. You have experience, and then if you do resin casting instead of 3D printing, it's dope, dude. It's way cheaper. You don't have to go through someone or buy a machine, and you can get the silicone like 2-part mold stuff. You can make dozens and dozens of molds for like $90.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to make figures, you know, like vinyl figure, my own vinyl figures, learn how to sculpt the whole process. But you know, there's so many things you want to do that and I think a lot of us have a lot of attention deficit issues where it's hard to keep focus on one thing. Where like if you're working on a painting for 3 days, you just have to put it aside and do another short project just to clear your mind, because there could be a section that's just bothering you that you keep trying to fix, but you just make it worse or doesn't come out the way. So you just put it away and fuck with this for a few days, you know? That's the way I do it, at least.
Oh, it's true. But then those few days turn in for me like 3 months. And then I'm like, I haven't messed with this painting. Like I just stopped doing it.
This one's been here for, like a year.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't know where to go with it, but it's, and I don't want to ruin it.
It's like you have the idea, you're just not quite sure how to get there yet.
Well, like, I kind of know where I want to go with it now, but now I got to remaster the brush because I put it down for so long that if I were to try to do what I want to do, I'm going to fail and frustrate myself. Whereas I just get another little block of wood to honestly just hone back in on the painting and the strokes and getting the textures just right again, because that's mostly what painting is, getting your paint to the right consistency to do what you want it to do, not drip, not fan, not be too thick, and that's the whole thing to get back.
So it wasn't procrastination then, it was just preparation. You had to get your chops back on the brush.
Right. Well, now it's preparation, but they procrastinated for a while.
Yeah.
There's a few I've procrastinated in here. I literally just have shit everywhere that I'm working on. Like I need to finish these. These are pretty much done. These are wood cutouts I made that are.
Oh, bad.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah. And so I want to make them hangable. And then I'm going to do a bunch of little drops that are in the same style. But yeah, this has been here for like a year. There's one back there too. Need to make more of it too. This is when I first got the jigsaw that I was just fucking around with just to see how it works. And it's a lot harder than it. Like, I don't know if you guys have interviewed Ezra yet, but he makes it look easy.
Yeah, we haven't talked to him yet. I want to. I haven't even reached out to him. I don't really know him. I don't think we ever hung out.
He's a friend of mine. I'll introduce you guys.
Cool.
I used to work with him at Home Depot, and yeah, anything we could get our hands on back then, because Home Depot doesn't pay much, but there's a lot of shit you can basically keep that just, here's a piece of trash that they were going to throw away. No, let me keep that cardboard, wood. But yeah, cutting through a 1/4-inch wood with the jigsaw, not as easy as it looks.
You got to sand that shit nice.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like that shape though, that like cloud shape. It's like reminiscent of like stuff I've always kind of thrown in the background of some of my work.
Nice. Yeah, what do you guys favorite mediums?
I mean, lately for the last couple of years, I'm just trying to work oils, trying to get better at it. I don't know if I've gotten better. I've done more work, so obviously I've gotten better in that sense, but I still haven't like broke the code with it. Like I still don't feel comfortable with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I started off doing like acrylic and then a lot of spray paint, like especially for just backgrounds and like messes, like to prime the surface, but also give it some depth.
Nice. Yeah, well, I don't have the patience for oil. Watching that shit dry is nerve-wracking.
It's crazy. You work with it and it takes several days in the sense that like you build up the layers and maybe by that like third pass, you're still doing the same small detail or like the things you're trying to do, but then it starts to have more depth or something. It's weird. The way it comes together, I'm still not 100% with, but I'm sure there's tricks and tips that I don't know. I had a very kind of like basic introduction to it and just went from there.
There's a book, I guess, Dali wrote that he shows all his tricks and hacks for oil painting. I guess there's additives you can add to oil that'll make it dry in hours instead of days.
Yeah. I use some of that stuff, but again, it's just like, I don't have it down to a science by any means yet. So it's like every painting I do still a little bit of an experiment with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's acrylic. I just find it convenient that it dries in minutes. So if I mess something up, I don't have to wait a day before I can get back to it. But
that's one thing I find really interesting. When we first started this podcast, so I'm not really an artist in the sense of like a painter. I'm more into music and production and that kind of side of it. And anytime I've tried to draw has just been on my iPad, kind of like you're talking. I got an Apple Pencil and an iPad and it changed my life. Yeah. But I'm not versed in any mediums really whatsoever. And it's wild to me to see how kind of specific the different mediums are. Like we've got guys on here that only do watercolor, and they don't really mess with any other paints, or we've got people that like only will mess with acrylic and on canvas. And it's kind of like people find their niche and they stick to it. And you don't find many artists that are going to go kind of consistently making different pieces. This is oil, and then this is vinyl, the next one, and the next one's watercolor. Like you see them go through their phases, but they all kind of land on one and find what kind of works for them.
Yeah, I'm not really like that. I get bored of one thing. If I'm doing one thing, I just have to switch it up. I'll grab a Sharpie. If I'll do brush, and then I'll switch to Sharpie, or depending on what the show is. So the last show I had was with dogs. I don't even think you might have to bleep out his name.
Yeah, I was gonna say how much what we should say, but
with dogs. But that one. The initial title to that one is going to be lackluster. I just like that word. I just like how it sounds, how it rolls off your tongue. And that was the theme, non-vibrant, kind of dull, quiet colors and earth tones, which is what he mostly paints in. But
his is mostly, browns, grays, black, like, black and white.
I like using bright, vibrant, multicolors. So it was really a test on me. What am I going to do? I'm the one that named the show, and we ended up having to change the name because Jason at Visual was like, "Are you guys sure you want to go with lackluster? Have you looked up the definition to that word?" Like, I know what lackluster means. That's the irony, but
so funny.
But dogs ended up agreeing with him, and I was like, fuck it, let's call it luster. But at that point, I had already created the pieces, and it was just I just did Sharpie, straight Sharpie, no sketch beneath it, just see what comes out, and undertone of red, and that's it. And yeah, that was a challenge. You know, it's good to challenge your set beliefs. your
Always, right?
The show was sick, dude. It your guys' sides like definitely like meshed well together. I was curious just kind of see if you were gonna have a really like bright corner, and then have like his stuff, you know, kind of like the opposite. But it felt pretty on the level with each other, at least like from me viewing it, I guess.
Yeah, we had a few meetings on what we were going to do. He asked me if I was going to go, you know, colorful and vibrant like I always do, and I was like, no, I want to try to challenge myself. Even the figures I made, I didn't put any real brights or colors that would have stood out. They were kind of muted too. I mean, there was some red for what it was blood, but nothing really like my other styles that kind of just pop out at you. Right. My main goals when I paint is to get your attention from far away and to draw you in, and the closer you get, the more you see, to the point where if you're even 6 inches away, you could still see shit you wouldn't have seen. That's my goal. And just to it's almost non-objective. Like I have an idea in my head of what I want to do and what I want to put out, but I really leave it up to the observer. A lot of the times people don't know who the artist is. They don't know I'm the painter. And I'll just stand behind them and get honest opinions, just listening to what they're saying and what the fuck is that? Like, and they get closer and like, is that a dick? Is that what is that? Very closer, and the closer they get, the more questions they have. So that's what I try to do. But
I definitely feel that, like like on the shirt that Matt got, that SD shirt that you did recently, badass shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
I felt the same way. I liked how it was very detailed, almost in like a Aztecian or Mayan like totem pole, you know. And as you go up, it's almost like one figure was morphed with another figure that turned into another. And that seems to kind of be a running theme in a lot of the more recent illustrations that you've been doing, or digital artistry that you've been doing. Is that obviously on purpose, and what kind of drew you to that style?
It's been evolving. Like if you look at this guy that I pointed to, like he has a structure, but if you get close, it's layered and there's faces, and can you guys see?
Oh, okay. I couldn't see that.
Yeah, there's faces, and it's been an ongoing thing for a while now. Trying to think of all my other pieces, but yeah, I like to get an overall shape, but then fuck with it, you know, put more inside of it. Just because nothing is one thing. People are complex beings, and you may appear one way, but there's a lot more to it than that. So it's a lot of things that come to making the one thing. So that's kind of how I go about it.
But yeah, the first thing that came into my head when I saw that shirt was like, it was very psychedelic. You know, I've dabbled in psychedelics a little bit in my life, and had seen some things that look very similar to that, you know, that kind of very universal, natural geometrical shapes. Yeah,
no, definitely has had an influence. I mean, I've done my fair share of psychedelics, from mushrooms to ayahuasca to salvia. As crappy as salvia was, it still had an effect on me.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. There, you can tell. I don't even know what I was painting before mushrooms. It was just graffiti, and it was just, you know, graffiti letters, bombing. But after my strong dose of shrooms, I think my mind opened up a lot and let a lot of stuff loose, and in a good way, and changed my life for the better. Definitely for the better.
A lot of artists will claim that same thing. You know, there's one time that you did psychedelics that was just the most memorable, that something clicked and changed things for the better. You know, everyone, if you've done psychedelics enough, you've had a bad trip, but everyone's also had that epiphany moment, you know,
groundbreaking moment that life-changing moment. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Aztecs translation, from what I remember, their word for magic mushrooms are skin of the gods. So as you can tell, they probably
that's dope.
Yeah, they actively participated in shrooms, but I mean, they're around for a reason, and they definitely had a great effect on me. I'm not one to advocate for drugs, but do mushrooms, people.
There you go. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Gradually, of course.
Right. Don't do anything you're not comfortable.
Don't eat an eighth and then drink a gallon of orange juice like I did,
but also have someone there with you that has knows what's up and like has done it before. Like, don't experiment with drugs by yourself.
Absolutely.
And also make sure you got pens and pencils and paper and canvas and brushes, because that you're gonna want to do that, and you're gonna end up creating one of the coolest paintings you've ever had.
And voice record your ideas, because I swore I came up with the answer to the universe, and when I came to, I couldn't remember it. I wish I would have recorded it, because that's it. That's what this all means.
Yo, if anyone that listens to this has a voice recording of themselves on mushrooms, please email us at neststickerco@gmail.com, because I want to hear it.
Yeah, we'll do a special episode just for that recording.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I need to get back into, making beats. I was doing that actively for a while.
Okay.
I was in a group actually with Gabo Nano and Dunga. I don't know if you guys know who those guys are.
I'm unfamiliar.
Look them up. They work a lot with a lot of the SD scene. They're pretty well known in that. But
all right,
we were making beats. We actually played a few live shows, a Halloween show in a appliance repair shop in Chula Vista.
Yeah,
there was washing machine guts everywhere. There were cables, lights. It was great setting for a beat show, and it was great.
Sick.
Yo, those are the best underground hip hop shows. The ones that are thrown in a random venue or in somebody's house or some you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to trip over, but it was a sick show. Wait till like we were there till like 6 a.m. I miss those days. I miss making beats, because music and writing, I love to write. I feel like those I get to vent, where art is a distraction.
Okay.
I don't put politics in my art, because for me, art is my distraction. It's the vent. It's to get away from that. My day-to-day garbage, my life that the bullshit that we all deal with. Art is an escape from that, where writing and music for me is a way to vent that. So sometimes
churn through it, work through it, rather than kind of get yourself out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you paint, do you find yourself just being so caught up in just the act of painting that you're not thinking about what a message would be, or like, do you never go into a painting thinking of like, I want this is what it to convey to people, like when you're drawing it, or is it just for you?
I mostly it's a state of mind that I'm in. Like if I'm angry, I think that translates into the painting. If I'm at peace, I think that translates into, but I never go into it saying it's going to be this. Never. I just start painting usually and see what comes out.
Yep.
But writing, definitely have an objective in mind. And I feel like it's weird. I can spend 3 hours painting, and then when I'm done, I still have all those stressors in I distracted myself for 3 hours, because you have that brush stroke you need to get perfect, and you have to have that line that you cut perfectly. And so you're distracted, but where writing and making music, you actually get to unload a lot of your stressors, I think. So definitely, if you're a creative person, don't I would recommend not sticking to one thing, because you can find an avenue or a medium that expresses you better, or just lets you vent better, and have an arsenal of stuff to be creative with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I find that the more stuff that you do creatively, the better vocabulary you have in your head to describe what you're trying to get at too. You might be writing something or writing a story, and think about when you were creating art and the way that you mixed a color, or the way that a shape took form that way that you didn't realize it would, can spark something verbally in your head that somehow gives you the right words to get through that story that you're getting,
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. Just the way watching a color bleed into another one, it could trigger some kind of poem in your head. Or it could be reminiscent of some scene you saw, something, when you see two colors clashing, you could almost looks like a riot, like a chaotic scene. Deep, if you look close enough, it can get really, really intense.
Yeah, colors really they evoke emotion, and they all kind of have emotion associated with them. And if you see those clashes, like you're saying, or those bleeding together and becoming one, it evokes emotion, and emotion then can be translated into vocabulary or music or anything that you can now express.
Like you can look at a color and you can hear a note in your head sometimes, just like that's what that color would sound like.
Yeah, I feel you. That's purple smells like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Or this blue would taste like this. That actually reminds me of an Office episode. It's like, what flavor is it? Blue. Blue isn't a flavor. It's called Blue Blast. So, it's true. Like colors, you can feel, taste, and hear them. It's crazy. I guess that's probably why I use so many of them.
Yeah. That shows in your vibrant work, man.
I wanted to ask, because we touched on that visual show that you just did with dogs, and then you did a couple group shows in the last year, right? With like a bunch of people, like with a roster of people.
Oh yeah, I had a SD show. The theme was SD, and basically the T-shirt I drew out. I made a large version of. I actually have it over here. It's 4 foot by 4 foot. I actually had Beebs dropped it off 10 days before it was supposed to. So I had 10 days, but really I only had 5, because of those 10 days I had to travel to Arizona with my lady, and by the time we got back, I only had 5 days left to paint. Yeah. It was an all-nighter kind of thing, and it's big. I mean, I'll drag it in here.
Is that the SD show for? It was downtown outside, and it was Regan Russell and Nicholas Danger and a bunch of artists, right? Is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
dude, that's sick.
It's huge. My sister actually bought it. I had to make it hangable for her.
Nice.
But there's a few people who wanted to buy it, but she called dibs. But yeah, it was a sick lineup. I mean, so many great artists in that show. I was stoked to be part of that one for sure.
Yeah, that was rad. I just lived vicariously through Instagram for that show. I saw everyone like posting about it. I was like, man, I wish I was there. It sucked.
Yeah, and that's when I did the release of the first shirt, the brown one. Because you got the blue one, right? But I did the brown.
I got both.
Oh, that's right.
The blue right here, so people can see the color scheme. That shit is fire. Old school pop.
Super tight.
But yeah, the turnout was crazy. I mean, me not really, but a lot of those people have a lot of pull, and it was crazy to be involved in such a big event.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man.
And then I did do another group show. I just can't remember where it was. I mean, I've been doing shows for a while now.
That's good, man. Yeah, like I said, 5 years ago, you weren't really showing that much, because I think you were just more focused on school at that point.
Yeah,
and
16 units, that keeps you pretty much busy.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's been cool to see like the last year or two, just, you showing flyers and seeing that you've been doing show after show after show.
Yeah, and can't wait to, being conservative too with this whole thing that's going around killing people. We as a team, because I'm part of like a big collective of San Diego artists that we all get together and party together and spitball ideas and let's throw a show here, let's get together. But I pump the brakes a lot during the last 2 years, just because, even if it's a hoax, why risk it? Let's get people healthy. I don't want to be responsible for killing anyone. And so we really just subsided. We did some like online events that we were just like online galleries, I think, that my homies put together. But now that things are kind of, well, it looks like they're coming back up again. But when things started slowing down, we started planning, and yeah, hopefully we've got some shows in the works. We're planning on a big group show. San Diego Zine Fest is coming up. I hope to be part of that. Hopefully I will. But there's just a lot of good stuff coming up, and can motivate all of us to get busy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so you said you were taking 16 units. Now, is it all kind of mathematics, or are you taking art classes there too, or a little both?
I've never taken an art class in college. The last art class I took was high school. This was, my major was either chemical or mechanical engineering. So everything is geared towards that. So at that point, I mean, besides your prereqs, like I was doing English, chemistry, calculus. What else was I doing?
But it was all based very much on your degree rather than art and kind of the fun. Yeah. So art truly is your escape. It's your hobby. It hasn't become a professional, quote unquote, passion that you have deviated or gone to school or anything like that for. No. I keep art as an escape. Yeah, I keep art as my way out. And I thought about studying it, but I took like an intro where you go into the class and speak with the professor, and everyone was just so pompous and just so full of themselves, and just the way they spoke about themselves, and they didn't know who I was. But then once my friend, I totally lost interest in the professor just by the way she was acting. I'm not going to be able to stick it through this and have to do chemistry and physics. Like, no way. I'm just not going to. I'm just going to do it on my own. And then my professor found out, like, they showed her pictures of the stuff I do, and she ran over to me and was trying to get me to sign up for her class. I was like, no, you just spent the last 45 minutes snobbing me, and now you want me to jump in? Like, no. That's right.
I'll sit this one out. I appreciate it, though.
It's funny. Yeah. It's I got lucky because I had, I only took a couple art classes in community college, but I had a good percentage of the teachers were real. Like, they were just like real ass working artists that were straightforward with you. Like, if you want to put in the work to do this is what you got to do. If you don't, you could, do whatever you want to do, but you're not going to get anywhere, like where they're paying you for it. Right. So, I had a good, 101 of like the do's and don'ts of trying to be a working paid artist. And I don't know, it never got to that point for me. Like, I've always made art throughout the years, but never with the emphasis of selling it. Let's put it that way.
Right. I've been selling a lot lately, but I never created with the idea that only recently have I started making merch. Up until, this year is the first t-shirt I ever printed. Well, no, that's a lie. I printed a t-shirt like 10 years ago with my buddy Jaime. But yeah, that was for an art show that we did at the Czech Cafe. And I made like 20 shirts, but haven't done anything since. So this is the first year that I've made prints, that I've made t-shirts, that I've made stickers. And I'm surprised as to how fast they're going. I never thought I could because I sell drawings and paintings, but this stuff is going quick. So it's becoming like a viable economic model for me right now, where maybe I could in the next 2 years quit my job and make it full time. That'd be awesome, because then I always thought of it that, you're just selling your art out, but as long as you don't sell your art out and you're doing what you want and what you love and what you would be doing anyway, fuck it, make money.
That's right.
That's right. There's no downturn to that. do it. If you can make a living off your own creative mind, by all fucking means, do it.
Yo,
100% agree.
That's the thing. If you're making it and it's your own thoughts and your own ideas and your own work, like that's not selling out. I feel like if the only time I'd call someone a sellout is if they did something they didn't want to do and it was blatantly obvious that wasn't their thing and they did it because they were getting paid, right?
Right. Like if someone were to come to me and ask me to make them a Trump poster and then a Trump poster, that's me selling out, because that's me doing something I would never do on my own. So even commission work, if it's something that is along the lines of something you would do, but someone's just paying you for an idea, absolutely do it. That's not selling out. But it took a lot of thinking for me to get to that conclusion, because I was around for a while. A lot of artists that were I'm looking for the right words, were too up their own asses. They were good, but really, really poignant and really strict on their views of what an artist is supposed to be. Where, dude, if you bend two sticks together and dip them in paint, and you can call that art, it doesn't matter. So I'm to the point where if you can make a living off it and you can do something you love, why not fucking do it? Because no one's ever going to give you handouts. So if you can give yourself a leg up in any way, do it for yourself at least.
100%. That's right.
Touching on commissions, last couple times I was in San Diego, I went and checked out Hayes Burger and Barrio.
Oh, yeah.
And you got those pieces up in there. Did they ask you to do that, or you know those guys? How'd that come about?
I met them. So I had a show. I had a couple of shows next door. It was Art Basel with this guy Chris that ran that gallery. I put a couple of shows together in there, and those guys had been opening that burger shop for like 4 years, just because that's how California is, getting all the permits, getting all the infrastructure in place to make a restaurant. And it's just a nightmare to get a restaurant open in California, I guess. But they were there a lot. So I would be there setting up or helping Chris set up some shit. And they would be in there working, getting their shop together. And I'd just walk over there. I ended up becoming good friends with them and shooting the shit and partying with them, because they basically had a little party house in there while they were building it. And so, just got to know them really well. So by the time they finally opened, I asked them, hey, do you want me to, well, they asked me, do you want to draw something in here? So I drew the monster behind the door that's on by the exit sign. And I had just had a show, so I had some paintings left over. Like, if you want to hang them up in here, by all means. I was like, hell yeah. So I hung up a few, and then they sold, and they didn't charge me a commission. I was like, well, no, I got to give you guys something. So then I finished, I put more detail on the monster, and then hung up more pieces in there. But no, they weren't commissioned. They just basically opened their wall up to me.
Hell yeah.
Just because they're homies, honestly, just being good people. I'm actually drawing them something right now, drawing them a Hayes t-shirt that they can have just for being grateful, because I sold a lot of pieces in there.
Sick. It's a good ass little spot, dude. It's like a
good food, good art, just good layout. It's
nice dudes.
Dope. Yeah. Friendly atmosphere. Like, it's inviting.
Yeah.
And that's good karma too. People helping people, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, absolutely. Scratching each other's backs. No one's gonna.
Yeah, it's
keep them around.
Yeah,
it's funny who you hang out with and who you talk to in San Diego over the years. I've heard both sides. Like, I've heard people just be like, no one wants to help each other out, and then other people are that like, San Diego helps each other out. You know, it's I guess it's depending on the situation and the person and what you're trying to do with them or get from them or whatever. But I feel like I threw a lot of shows at non-galleries throughout the years, and a lot of people I didn't know contributed and like helped me out by doing that. So like, I got nothing bad to say about like the scene, I guess.
From what I hear, the scene is just depends on who you hang out with. I mean, who you associate with. Some people are dog eat dog, but nothing towards my homie dogs. But I feel like I've put myself in a circle where all my close friends are creative in one way or another, and we all got each other's backs. I haven't had negative experiences at all. And that's rare in any creative sphere. That's rare. And I think it's just my choice of friends, my choice of company that I keep around, because I keep around genuine people that not only are great artists, but are great people. And you'll find that some people might be amazing artists, but shitty people. And thumbs up on your art, but stay away from me. Like that's
right.
like, good for you, dude. I'm proud of you, proud of the work you've done. I'm not going to knock you down, but I'm just also not going to hang around you. But I feel like I keep really good company around, and makes your life as a creator easier.
Yeah, man, it makes all the difference in the world having good people around you.
Yeah,
that's not even a creative thing. That's just like a life thing. Like,
right,
keep good people around you, and you won't have problems.
And keep people that are gonna motivate you. People that that are themselves busy and working hard, and so you're not stagnant. The worst thing you can do as an artist is stagnate yourself. I think just.
I've definitely struggled with that. Like, since I started this Rat Nest thing like a year and a half ago now, I guess last June, July, is being kind of just so focused on the Instagram and the like products and the website and like getting comic books in, that like I haven't really made a ton of art for myself. Like, my creative focus isn't focused on my work.
Right.
So it's kind of, I need that kick in the ass. And I just moved from San Diego, so it's not like I hang out with anyone out here in the desert yet. So I just like, I'm on my own to like motivate myself. I'm like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah, that's tough. I started feeling that way by printing these things, the t-shirts. I got so involved in, because it was the first time I did it. So I was doing it off an Excel spreadsheet, just who ordered, what they paid, did they pay? And it's a shit show doing it like that. And so just keeping things organized for a while, I did 2 t-shirt releases. It just kept me busy, just having people coming up and picking their stuff up, to the point where I'm going to cool it for now, just so I can create, because I haven't been able to create. I have a blank board I need to get on top of. It's itching. I honestly can't wait to see what I'm going to do, but I need to be able to sit down and do it. And I can't keep getting texts, hey, I'm around the corner, I'm going to pick up my shirt, or I need to go to the mail and mail out 10 shirts at a time. It's just, my girlfriend says she could take care of that for me, but I don't know. I just like doing everything myself. So maybe I should just learn to trust people.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. I'm a control freak when it comes to my stuff. I need to be able to maybe trust people around me more with it.
It's tough, dude. It's especially like, I'm the only one that started this business. It's not like a group venture or anything. I didn't, when I started it, it was just me. And like, Jim's helped me out so much with it now, with the podcast side and everything, that I'm able to like ask him to do things and know that he's going to do them. But for the whole year, I was like, everything's on me. Like, I got to figure this out. I got to do this. I got to mail this out. I got to update this. And it just, you think about it so much. It takes away more of your time than it actually does to do the thing you're thinking about.
Right. No, and like setting up an online shop, or like I set one up, I have products on there, but I haven't released it because A, I don't want to get busier without having more stuff to create, and B, not all my totals are correct now. So I have to go back in and tweak those things around. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work being an independent business.
Well, shit, man, you've sold stuff through Rat Nest before, a couple of, little pieces, you could always let me know. Yeah. I can move some stuff for you if you want.
Yeah, I was actually I was going to ask if you wanted some of these prints, I could send them your way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just see what you could do with them. I mean, just
always down, dude. Yeah, I only put up a couple of the pieces that you sent me originally, the Post-it note ones. And I had people asking about them. And then finally, one of the dudes was like, I'm just going to buy it. And it was only $18-20 or whatever it was. But he's like, I've been looking at this too long. I'm just going to get it. So it's like, if it's there and people see it, they'll get it, man. Like, it'll move.
Those Post-its moved. Like when I had that show with dogs, that's what I mostly sold. I sold like 20 of those things.
I was gonna say, what'd you have up? Like 30 of them?
30. It was 6 by 5, 36. I think it was 6 by 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was a square.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was, and they're old. Some of them were, 2-3 years old because when I work, I'm on the phone a lot. So when I'm talking I work at a financial firm and I help new advisors learn how to use our system. So a lot of the shit I do is walkthroughs, which I have memorized. So I'll just draw while I'm talking to them and walking them through shit and making Post-its, or now the iPad. And a lot of the stuff I do is while I'm distracted and doing something else. So those Post-its are convenient because I could take them everywhere. And even if your boss sees you, you're just doodling on a Post-it. It's not like I'm working on a piece on my desk.
Right, so right.
Really nonchalant. And there's a lot of detail that goes into those little things. They're micro pieces. And
and when it's a doodle like that, it's a true brain dump. That's like unadulterated thought right there.
Yeah, not sketched either. Just, you should see how many I ball up that are just sitting, just failed Post-its that didn't work out. But
one wrong move.
Yeah.
I have a question about the Post-its. What are you using? Are you using a Micron 1, or what are you using to draw those things?
A Micron 5.
Okay.
Those are my go-to. I just love Microns. That's what I do a lot of my stuff with. It's either Sharpie or Micron or ballpoint Big Pen.
Right.
The finer pen drawings, I just buy. Where are they? Just these over here.
Yeah, I use a lot of Microns, and I use a lot of those.
36 for like $2.
Totally. And that's the thing with Microns, they're more expensive, and the ones are hard to come by if you can't buy them individually. A lot of times they're in the pack, but not individuals for whatever reason. Those are the ones that I like. So I have a hard time spending, $4 or $5 sometimes for a fucking one pen.
One Micron, yeah. I tend to buy
the way they feel is nice.
Yeah, just the way they glide, and they're almost immediately smudge proof. I mean, right off the bat, they are smudgeable, but give it a few seconds and they're not going to smudge. So I tend to draw with my whole hand, so it'll get messy, but Microns tend to hold up nice. That and Sharpie, that's pretty much all I use. I've tried using, fancy, expensive pens, but honestly, these 36 for $4 Big Pens they blend the best, I think. Just the way they fade out. Yeah, you'll go through them, though. Once they start bleeding, you got to toss it because it's just going to ruin your drawing. But
usually like 3/4 of the way through one, it'll just give out. It's done.
But just the way they blend and fade out, it's my favorite. That and Micron. Microns are expensive though. I tend to buy the pack of like 8 that comes from like 0, 0, 1 to 8.
Right, with the brush one and all that.
Because when I draw on canvas, I need all the sizes, not just the one. Because I do use canvas, but to draw with Micron, not to paint on.
Right.
That's what I do those big drawings with.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Now that you say that, I can kind of like think about it and see that.
Yeah, those like canvas cutouts that they're not paintings, they're drawings, but I do them with Micron and Sharpie. It's painstaking. I look at it, how the fuck did I draw that? It's ever. There's like a million lines in here. How the hell do I have to pick? Because I'm a very impatient driver and very impatient person. I like to be punctual and in and out. Like if I'm going to a store, I'm going to get just that thing. But with my art, I will take forever. And I don't know where I find the patience. It's crazy. Because in life, I'm not a patient person. Anyone can attest to that.
Yeah, most artists are what we like, immediate satisfaction. You know what I mean? If we gotta wait, we gotta push back. We're gonna lose interest quick.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to my art, I don't mind taking months on a piece. It's crazy.
Well, speaking of lack of the ability to concentrate. We're coming up on about an hour here. Most of our listeners are probably hitting that ADD phase right about now.
They're probably on YouTube now. So thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Bro, it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much. Do you have if you want to shout out your Instagram or where people can buy those shirts or your collective that you're part of?
The shirts are pretty much sold out. I think I have one extra small left. So, a tiny person, tell them to message me at Hyper Helix on Instagram, hyper_Helix. My email is hyperhelix325@gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up. And thank you guys.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude. Thank you so much. Seriously, it's good talking to you, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. It just feels like a conversation we've had anyway. So thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's up.
Good one. Let's get together soon too.
Yeah, next time
we're down in SD.
Yeah,
I'll hit you up.
I'll introduce you to everyone.
Hell yeah.
We'll make a day of it. All right.
Awesome, bro. Nice meeting you, Memo. Take care, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yo, this has been the Rat Nest Podcast, episode 23 with Memo, aka Hyper Helix. Go check out all his work on Instagram at Hyper Helix or email him for commissions at hyperhelix325@gmail.com. You can check us out every week on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, and more, wherever you get your podcasts. Go to ratneststickerco.com if you want to buy stuff. And Jim?
I'm Jim.